Welcome to the Living Word Podcast. I am your host, Genevieve, and these episodes serve as a reminder to how essential your fullest expression is on this planet during one of the most transformative times in our history. Together, we are going to explore truth through vulnerable conversations about life's deeper meaning, exploring holistic wellness, mindset, spirituality, entrepreneurship, love, and everything in between. Let's dive in, shall we? Welcome back to the Living Word, and thank you for everyone who's been supporting the podcast. I think that there is such a beautiful resonance about people coming together to speak vulnerably about their stories, to share the things that sometimes you may not know about people, especially my beautiful friend and colleague, Vanessa Grutman. I met her through a business opportunity and have been following her for about a year now. And what I have found is that she is so innovative in the way she shows up personally and professionally. And now I have the opportunity to have the conversations that we have, the fireside chats, here live with you today. Now, Vanessa Grutman is someone who owned brick-and-mortar businesses, and she transitioned into the online space. And she did this because of her own wellness, her own what do we want to call it? Her own body was just speaking to you. And you finally picked up the phone call from your own being and you made a huge pivot. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And we're also going to be talking about the truth behind the curtain of running a 7 to 8 figure business. Because the truth is that when you are rising into this actualization of the anointing on your life, of who you are meant to be, there are pieces of the accountability, of the self-discipline that we don't talk about enough. So we're going to talk about that today. So Vanessa, thank you for being here. Thank you for always being open. And I would love for you to just introduce yourself to the network.
Oh my gosh, what an intro. And I'm already feeling emotional. So we're going to be in for quite the ride.
Always.
And well, thank you so much for having me. And I think it's really important to say that we've been working together virtually for over a year?
Mm-hmm, about a year.
And so as you are listening to this, we dropped into each other's energy about 3 hours ago. And we can't get enough of each other. This energy is so good. So I just wanted to say I'm so grateful you actually came to my house, that we are welcoming you into our home. So thank you for your presence. And yes, I don't know from where to begin, but long story short, I did build a network of medical aesthetic clinics back in 2012. And that was an all-in experience. That's who I am. I'm all in everything I do. But it was very much rooted in the hustle culture, wanting to be to do more in order to be validated, in order to be seen. That was my MO since my brother came to life when I was 5 years old. My brother has Down syndrome. And when he arrived into this world, all I could see was my parents crying all the time, and saying, why us, why us? And I already was quite a leader at that time. And I decided nobody's going to cry under my watch anymore. And so I just turned into this leader that would fix, that would save the day. And that's just been the way I operated all my life, where I would do in order to feel like I was helping, in order to feel like I was important, in order to feel like I mattered. And so I had all of that twisted in the wrong way, if you will. And that worked really, really well. It allowed me to build this multiple 7-figure business, to get it to a point where we had multiple buyers wanting to purchase it. We sold the company. And then at that moment, my whole body shut down. My whole identity was crushed to the ground because I had poured 10 years into this project, had 2 babies, didn't take any mat leave. It was all in. And so when I found myself on the ground and burnout and completely it wasn't a midlife crisis, but definitely an identity crisis, I really was faced with the fact that I just was so disconnected to my true essence. I was so disconnected to my body physically also. I was so in my head, and that's what the hustle culture does. you're so in your head making up stories, and it's always like the ego driving us. And literally it is the prison we live in. Right. And so I got to, I decided to just heal myself, because all the doctors I was seeing, all the tests I was doing, everybody was telling me I was normal, that it was all in my head, everything was going to be okay. And I was like, no, this is not okay. And so I decided to certify myself as an integrated health practitioner, just with the sole purpose of getting myself back on track. And that's when I was taken for a ride and had quite the spiritual smackdown. That's where I got to meet the darkness inside of me. That's when I got to meet all these things I had been hiding away, all these things I had been pretending to myself, not even to the world, but to myself. And oh boy, I went in for a ride. Of course, I learned everything about integrative medicine, which is, the detoxification and the importance of removing what is in the body that is density. So whether it is in the form of parasites, candida, heavy metal, mold, so doing all of that. But then I also got to really experience the emotional purging, or the emotional aspect. And what does that mean to actually look under the hood? And what is required in order to reconnect ourselves to our soul and to our biggest mission. And just in doing that and doing this work, and I had a blog at the time, which I was doing just because it felt fun. I needed an outlet. And so I just started sharing and documenting my healing journey, and women just started being like, oh my gosh, this is happening to me. Can you help me? And this thing turned into a coaching business, which I had no intention of doing. And in 17 months, it turned into a 7-figure business. It just exploded, which reminds me every day how what I experienced really happened for me, so I could come and help women that are experiencing the same thing. And there's so many women waking up right now. Like we always talk about, the rising of the new world and this, going back to the light and this frequency work, and it's happening right now. So, and I invite you through this conversation that we're going to have today. If you're listening, pay attention to your body. Like listen with your body, because that's really what gave me the biggest clue. I would have like the goosebumps, the shivers, the lump in my throat. I felt triggered. I would be having, the butterflies in my stomach, the fire, the sacral hits. And that's what I started chasing in my healing, because that's where the answers are.
I didn't know pieces of your story. And you just said to listen with your body. And as we're speaking, when you look at me, there is a captivating light in your eyes that cannot be explained, only experienced. And I'm experiencing it right now. So I am already all in with my physical being. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because you talked about the hustle culture and what it did to you. And I had a very similar experience. If you want to listen to that, it's in episode 2. Yet now, through the healing, through the awakening, through the opening, you are back meeting the income and the annual revenue that you were at before, but in a brand new way. And so can we talk a little bit about the difference of building a brick and mortar business the way you did and building an online space that is equally as profitable? And how are you really putting up the boundaries to make sure that you don't go back to how it was before?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, there's so many answers to that question, because the first thing that is blowing my mind every day, and I told you right before we turned the mics on, having a brick and mortar business it felt really hard for me, because let's say someone forgot to lock the door, I'd have to drive back. Someone forgot to turn the alarm on, or the alarm was ringing at 3 a.m. Like having a brick and mortar location takes so much dedication, and the amount of expenses that come with that. For us, just opening a clinic was $1 million that we had to put in cash just to get all the technology, all the equipment. And so now I am building this business online. I have complete location freedom, and all my expenses is literally my computer, a microphone, and I can travel anywhere in the world. To me, that, first of all, I really had this craving, this desire for that kind of freedom and sovereignty. So being able to achieve that has been a very strong reflection to me that like, oh, okay, the way I thought success had to look wasn't it at all. So that's the first thing I want to offer. And then what I'm doing differently this time is having really uncovered or played with the dark parts of me and embracing them and releasing them. Not all of them, because that's an ever-evolving journey, but really witnessing that and allowed me to witness also my power and my light. Because without knowing the dark, we can't appreciate the light, right? If the sun wasn't setting every night, we wouldn't be able to appreciate when it rises in the morning. And it's the same with us. If we're not able to appreciate this muscle, all of us, what we are made of, it's really hard to tap back into this, what I call the soul's mission, which is really, we all came here with a mission, all of us. We all came here in this lifetime with a mission. And it doesn't matter really what you believe in. And again, this is the piece that you need to listen to with your body, not with your head, because your head will resist it. But all of us came here with the ancestral knowledge that we have, right? I always say that our DNA is linking 6 to 8 generations back. So that means roughly 256 of your ancestors live in your DNA coding right now. And that is making you. And the beauty of that is it comes with all the wisdom, all the past experience, but it also comes with all the trauma. And it's interesting because sometimes we get to witness ourselves activated or triggered and we can't even understand what is happening. And sometimes it's not even ours. It's old coding that are being, upgraded. But all that to say that I do believe that all of us who came in this lifetime at this very moment, which is the rebirth of the golden age, the Aquarian age, the rebirth of the divine feminine, we all came here on the trailblazing frequency. I believe that every single one of us, we are here to break patterns. We are here to rebuild what is this new world, is this new earth that we all want to see. I always tell my clients, if you're complaining about something in the world, well, go and be the change that you want to see, because this is the kind of power we all have. We just forgot because conditioning, programming, all of it. But when you reconnect to your soul, which is that bigger calling, which requires you to open your heart, which for women, we haven't felt safe to do that in over 2,000 years. So to feel safe to open our heart again and trust that I'm okay. Like I'm not going to get killed for saying the truth. A lot of us are carrying the witch wound, which I know I do.
Yeah, me too.
And it's like, we've been killed for sharing the truth. We've been killed for sharing the potency of our superpowers. And so, of course, we're all relearning now that it's okay. That's why I'm here. It's to take all these knowledges and trailblaze and create the movements that we are here to create and create the change that we need to create, because there's not just one of us that can do it. We have to link arms and we have to remember all of our zones of geniuses. And that's really what I love working with my clients with, is really reactivating those superpowers.
I see everything you just said in a nutshell. What I'm hearing is that the difference now is that you are looking at all of yourself with love. The light, the dark, because all of that has made you who you are. And one of the things that I respect so much about you, and for all of you women out there who are looking for inspiration, please go follow Vanessa on Instagram. It's going to be in the show notes, but you walk the mission that you are on and then teach it to others. And since I've known you, there has been no standstill in that walk. It has been a continuous forward motion, to the point that when I first met you, I was like, who is this woman? And I couldn't pinpoint exactly like what I felt around you. It was activating me in such a beautiful way. And that's where I realized there was a potency in your mission that I had not seen before. And so what I see you do now is you allow people the space and the tools and the modalities to go from who they are right now to the supernatural essence of who they can be.
Yes, the trailblazers, because Yeah. And you said it perfectly, and what's really interesting, you asked me what's different about the way I led my previous business and this one. I feel like I'm not leading anything, which is activated a lot of fear of the unknown in me.
Right.
But I feel like now the path keeps revealing itself. And that's what I teach, is when you get to actually welcome yourself in the being. And I'm not one of those teachers that's like, put crystals in your bra and kumbaya, money's going to fall from the sky. I'm not. I'm very well balanced in masculine and feminine energy, because I do believe that both are essentials. I cannot just be in my feminine energy and expect for abundance to come. I need to create actions in order to get reactions. So you still need to be in motion. But what I'm realizing is the more I'm in motion, the bigger the momentum gets and the more opportunities, like the path reveals itself. And so everything comes to me like boom, 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 boom. Whereas before, everything was forced. I was forcing everything. Nothing felt effortless. Nothing. All of it felt so damn hard. And now, I'm not going to lie, it still is like a big thing to carry. But ultimately, like I just follow my soul's lead.
Absolutely. And I think that goes with free will and choice. That's something that we've been gifted in this lifetime, is that we must take the first step in order for universe, God, creator, whatever it is that you believe, to show up and meet us equally.
Exactly.
And I think that that's more important for women than ever, because that feminine essence, that nurturer, that lover, that creation maker is needed on this planet more than ever. And part of your story about really being grounded in the masculine and things feeling hard, it also showed up in your body and in my body in dis-ease, discomfort. And so right now, as you work through these, you have containers for women, correct? And you host these containers for women specifically to really up level where they want to go. And you do not separate personal and business. They are one. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. And I do work only with women at this point because of that safety I talked about. I see it in women. I see it. It took a while for me to open up and feel safe again. And it was only through being surrounded by sisters and healing that sisterhood wound that I was able to open up. So for me, it's really important to create these containers that feel safe, to be vulnerable, to be seen, because that's how we reconnect with ourselves and we get to see and welcome ourselves again. But yeah, to me, your body, your business, and your soul are one. And I don't see any value in trying to create silos in that, because I see it, and I felt it, I guess, when my body completely decided, peace out, I'm out of here. And I had to make friend with my body again. I had to start trusting my body again. And it's not until I was able to do that my business started to thrive. And as I started taking actions in my business, that's when I started getting reactions, but most importantly, remembrance. I don't think that if your body is in lack of flow, dis-ease, if your frequency is low, I don't think it's possible to remember your soul's mission. I think we need to kind of set the stage. And so I've created a bit of like a method. I call it the energy upgrade method. And for me, every woman that comes and works with me, we look at their body first. And my job is like, let's get rid of any densities that shouldn't be there. Let's raise your frequency, increase your light, so that you can actually start taking actions that feel aligned in your business. And I work with entrepreneurs mainly, but a lot of intrapreneurs as well. So like high-level executives or leaders that still want to create the change they want to see in the world, but while doing it in a larger organization. And that works because we all get to have an impact. And then from there, you get to notice with your body that is healed, activated, and connected, you get to start making moves that like, ooh, that felt good. Oh, that didn't feel good. And we start remembering slowly like, oh, wow, okay, yes, I really have these superpowers. And that spiritual awakening comes. Like, it's so beautiful. It just flows. And to me, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. Like, we have so many roles, so many identities to carry. I can't expect to be any good at all of this if I'm not connected to myself first and foremost. And if my business is not feeling aligned, if I'm pretending, if I'm wearing masks, if my message is fake, if I'm forcing it, it's not going to work. Not in this market right now.
And not in the building, like you said, of the new world, which is very transparent, which is very open and vulnerable. And it's one of the reasons I am so grateful to know you, because you show up now that I've seen you in person, online, the same. And that's what we need. We really need leaders who are going to lead themselves first. And that's what I'm hearing that you do over and over again. And I witness it. And thank you for saying the piece about the silos. And if you're listening to this and you've been really focusing on just your mind or just your body or just your spirit, and you're now realizing that they're all interconnected, like this is an opportunity for you to look at what is there something that I'm not willing to look at right now? And do I need someone to hold a mirror up that's very safe for me to take a look back? And that's what I believe that you have created. And I'm so grateful to work alongside you and with you, and for women to come into these containers. And I know that you have many things on the go, but what is one place, or where is the best place for people to find you, and what can they look forward to over the next few months?
Well, Instagram is really where I'm most active. I find that's where I'm able to, and I just love how my platform has been growing. It's still so small, but it's all the women in there are just so all in, they're aligned. I'm going to knock on wood right now. I don't have any trolls. Like I know it's going to come probably with growth, but it's just this beautiful curated place where women that feel that same desire to contribute, to trailblaze, to create a movement can unite. It's so beautiful. So it's on Instagram, and I'm just in the midst of building my movement, which I'm calling Femme Biohacker. Because to me, biohacking it's not about the tools. It's not about necessarily the technologies. And that's what I find right now. Biohacking is very masculine, energy driven. And so I want to offer the feminine balance piece that is missing. And to me, that is the heart and the soul component. And I think that's how women get to actually bloom. It's when we reconnect to that. And so to me, biohacking is optimization, at all levels. And so Femme Biohacker is going to be this movement where we get to actually talk about that and have these conversations and bring them more forefront and normalize them and normalize this desire that we have for more. All of us, we know deep down that we came here for more. It's just we forgot. And because of the fear and because of the social conditioning, we forgot. But when we start plugging into these high frequency communities and this movement, it's an opportunity to be like, yes, I feel this. I feel this. And the remembrance that unfolds after is so beautiful. And, now I'm really being drawn to creating these containers in person. We're going to be going to, you're going to be coming to my first retreat in Mexico, which I can't wait. Because when we're in person, that's really when we can work on the heart piece a lot more. We can go a lot deeper, and we can really do this, like, I'm calling it purging. It's really what it is. It's like letting go of these old stories, letting go of these old identities, and blooming into who we came here to be. So yeah, so online, Vanessa Grutman on Instagram is the best place to know all the latest and greatest of what I'm doing.
And when you go onto her Instagram, you can also sign up for her newsletter and also the Energy Upgrade podcast, which I think is so beautiful. And I know that one of the missions you are here to do is trailblaze the remembrance of who we are. And also, like you said in the beginning, be able to purge and heal so that the next 8 generations and after us are going to have a completely different DNA makeup. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your honesty, for your authenticity, for your vulnerability, and most importantly, for just you being a pillar for all of us women to know that we can always shine brighter. I thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Thank you for creating this space and for inviting these conversations. We need more of it. More. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Living Word podcast today. My hope is that you have something new or a remembrance that you can apply in your life right now. Isn't that the whole point of us learning and growing? to take new understandings and alchemize them through our own human experience. Please like and leave a comment or review if you enjoyed this episode, and share it with people in your life who would benefit from hearing it also. And make sure you subscribe to the Living Word podcast on your favorite platform and be the first to know about upcoming episodes. Sending so much love and gratitude to be on this journey together. See you soon.